Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder again with another Reddit story for you. This one was actually reposted to Bridezilla, but started off in AITA, and it's Am I the Astronaut for refusing to pay for my brother's fiance's wedding dress that I stained? My brother's fiance, Emma, 25, and my brother, Jonathan, 27, were getting married. My brother's fiance has 2 kids, 6 and 7, and they're both boys. Emma bought a wedding dress that was very expensive and wanted to brag about it to the whole family, so she decides to display it in the middle of the kitchen where kids are horseplaying. Bad idea. Honestly, just by the sound of that, it's already a disaster. Well, everyone was socializing and drinking. I was holding a glass of wine while talking to a childhood friend when suddenly one of their kids ran into me, causing the wine to fling, and it got all over the wedding dress. Her kid got up and started to cry. Emma was furious and she cried. Everyone looked at me like it was my fault. My brother told me to leave. Okay. That night, I was contemplating what happened when I got a call from my brother. He sounded upset and was talking aggressively, demanding for me to pay for the damages I had caused. I told him why he's not blaming the kid. His excuse was, he's just a kid. Don't bring him into this. You did the damage and should take responsibility for it. I was shocked and told him that he ran into me and asked him why I was getting all the blame. He then ended the call with, I don't care, just pay for the damage. Long story short, I called him back and explained to him that I will not be paying for the dress. He was angry and started shouting on the phone, saying I'm the biggest asshole he had ever met for not taking responsibility for my actions. I then asked him what actions I caused, but he kept repeating himself, saying just to pay for the dress and we can forget about everything. I told him I will not be paying thousands of dollars because a kid was running around and ran into me, causing the wine to fling and stain the dress. Later that night, his wife called me and was angry, calling me names like coward, bastard, bitch, asshole, etc. I was upset but didn't let my emotions take over me. I stopped her midway and asked where the idea of displaying an expensive white dress in the middle of a kitchen came from. She didn't answer the question and started to call me names again. I hung up and blocked her. After that, everyone in my family started contacting me. Mom, sister, brother, etc. They were sending me text messages calling me a bad person. To end the conflict, I paid them $2,500. I regret doing it, but it's whatever now. The only thing that got me upset was that I don't understand why her child didn't get any part of the blame. Am I the asshole?
Whoa.
Emma, OP's brother's fiance's kid. So, bride. It was the bride's child. That's why the kid didn't get any of the blame, because it was her kid. She had to blame someone else, so they would have to pay for it. It couldn't be her kid's fault. It had to be the person that was holding the beverage that her kid ran into when the beverage flew through the air and hit the wedding dress that just happened to be in the middle of a crowd of people in a kitchen. Thinking this isn't OP's fault. And putting myself in the shoes of a trial attorney, I don't think any jury would pin this on OP either. I think they would be like, well, look, it was pretty stupid to have it out in the middle of everybody. It was pretty stupid to have it out when you had beverages and stuff going around. It was pretty stupid to have it out when you had kids running around. It was a risk that was taken on the part of the bride-to-be by bringing it out into the setting. Not, hey, if everybody would like to see the dress, I have it displayed in the bedroom, in the closet, in a secure location. Everybody just check it out in there. Not here, let me bring it. Let me set it on the barbecue grill. Which is pretty much the equivalent of what happened here. It was in the middle of a crowd of people, kids running around, wine. What bride-to-be wouldn't be scared shitless and be like, oh my God, I'm so scared that something's going to happen. We can't do that. We have to keep it separated. She was too excited. And then shit happened and she had to blame it on someone. So it had to be the person who owned or at least had control of the beverage that was lost whenever her kid ran into them. Who else was she going to blame it on? She had no one else in this situation to blame. So it's not surprising that she tried to blame her because she needed someone to blame other than herself and she couldn't blame her kid. So OP was the only person she could come after here. The only person. OP is definitely not an asshole here at all. And I think in OP's shoes, I would have been like, sue me. Try. Whose house was it at, by the way? I'm wanting to say that it was OP's brother and bride's house. So it was even on their premises. Like if it happened on someone else's property, maybe they could sue whoever's house that was. They still wouldn't win, but it was on their property. It was their decision to put it there. It was her kid that ran into it. Like there's so many things going on here that make OP not the asshole at all. They just needed a scapegoat. I'm doubting that OP got control of the dress for that $2,500. Also, I know nothing about what it costs to remove wine stains from a wedding dress. Is it $2,500? Or is the dress just ruined at that point and has to be replaced? Okay, let's follow this path for a second here. Either they were just trying to make a quick buck, Or surely she didn't decide she didn't like the dress and wanted it paid for so she could buy another one, right? Surely. It would be a brilliant plan, though, to act like you were super excited, even though you had changed your mind. To act like you were super excited about a dress, bring it into a setting where chaos was happening and red wine was present, and then be able to blame it on someone else and keep the heat up to the point where they eventually paid you enough to get the different dress that you actually wanted. It's possible. I hope that's not what happened, but it's possible. Wowza. Okay, let's talk about brother and his fiance. Let's talk about them and see where they are on here. Brother, you could tell just by the way he approached the scenario, didn't believe that it was her fault at all. He's like, I don't care, just pay it. Which means, I don't care, make this go away so I don't have to hear about it anymore, please. He knew it wasn't the right thing. And even Emma, whenever OP got on the phone with her and started calling her names, OP says she stopped her midway talking and asked where the idea of displaying an expensive white dress in the middle of the kitchen came from. She didn't answer the question and started to call her names again. She knew. They both knew. They both knew it wasn't her fault. They just needed the scapegoat. So where does that put them on the ascon scale? I think we're assuming that they're working in cahoots here. And you know what? If she had said sue me, and if it had gotten to that point, receipts, proof, processes, documentation, all of those things would have mattered and would have been required. But she ended up just wanting it to go away. Do you think OP went to this wedding? I'm going to guess not. I'm going to guess that the relationship at this point was fractured. So what do you have to lose by not paying them? You didn't end the conflict by paying it. You just stopped them from bitching at you for now. I don't think anyone here is blaming the kid unless I'm missing something. But no, it was obviously the bride's fault for bringing it out into this setting in the first place. Or it was all set up and it was to buy a different dress altogether. Either because it was just their stupid ass fault for bringing it out when they shouldn't have brought it out into a chaotic setting with a lot of risk involved, or because it was a setup. Either way, they're terrible people for it. Willing to pin this on one person. Either it was a matter of, hey, she's got money, and they targeted her with it, or they targeted her with it and it was an accident. Either way, I mean, they targeted her as the scapegoat for the accident, or they targeted her as the scapegoat for the setup. One way or another, they're terrible people. They're perfect for each other. Live happily ever after.